There's a quiet kind of strength that comes with time. It doesn't shout, it doesn't rush. It moves slowly, purposefully, with deep understanding. And as the days pass, certain truths settle into the heart, like how energy, once so abundant, must now be used carefully. Each movement becomes intentional, each choice measured, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. There was a time when tidying up felt like second nature. Bend here, lift that, scrub this. But now, the body speaks up, knees whisper, backs resist, and hands remind you of every chore that once felt light. Yet despite all that, there remains a desire for peace, a desire for surroundings that feel gentle, clear, and welcoming. The beauty lies not in doing more, but in doing just enough, wisely, softly, calmly. The journey forward is no longer about conquering everything at once. It's about learning to simplify without sacrifice, to keep order without exhausting strength. Everything begins with intention. Instead of trying to transform an entire room in one go, choose just a single corner, a small space, one drawer, one shelf, or one spot that has caught your eye for too long. Focus there, tend to it, even if only for a few minutes. What happens? In that small space has a surprising effect. It creates a ripple. It builds momentum. And suddenly, you feel a little lighter. Sometimes, doing less creates more impact. A 5-minute session can shift the energy of an entire space. It's not about the volume of effort, but the consistency of care. Each small action is a gift to the future version of you, one that walks through a room and feels ease instead of overwhelm. There's something remarkable that happens when you place a soft cloth beneath your foot and glide it gently across the floor. You're not forcing, you're not straining. You're inviting a different kind of rhythm, one that honors the body while still nurturing the space around you. And that's what it's all about, now finding harmony between your physical reality and your emotional needs. A great shift occurs when tools become allies instead of burdens. Lightweight items, long handles, devices that bend so you don't have to. These aren't signs of giving up. They are signs of adapting. Because intelligence isn't in pushing harder, it's in adjusting wisely. Instead of standing for long stretches, settle in a chair and let the space come to you. With a small basket beside you, filled with a few essentials, you can wipe, sort, and refresh things at arm's reach. The motion may be small, but the effect is meaningful. The room changes, and so does the mood. Little routines begin to form. While the kettle warms, you might swipe a counter. While waiting for your favorite program to begin, you might clear a small tray. These actions aren't chores. They are gentle gestures of care for your environment and for yourself. When you allow things to soak, they clean themselves. No pressure, no scrubbing, just patience. That's the secret many overlook. Letting warm water and a bit of kindness do the work frees you to breathe, to rest, to observe the world without rushing through it. It's easy to get caught in the belief that if it wasn't hard, it didn't count. But there's wisdom in doing things the easy way, especially when the easy way keeps you well. Baskets placed in each room do more than hold items, they hold space for calm. Instead of walking back and forth a dozen times, you gather what needs attention in one place. Later, at a time that suits you, it can all be returned without stress. That small system removes the clutter and the chaos with such gentleness. You barely notice the effort, and when surfaces are cleared, just one or two, the entire atmosphere shifts. There's a weight that lifts when the coffee table is free of random papers, when the bedside table holds only the essentials, when the kitchen counter feels like it can breathe again. These aren't dramatic changes, but they bring peace like few other things can. Momentum builds not from doing everything, but from doing something. A drawer today, a shelf tomorrow. And if one day the only thing you tend to is your own comfort, that is more than enough, because comfort, too, is a worthy goal. Releasing the expectation of constant activity makes room for what truly matters: presence, rest, clarity. There is no guilt in sitting still. Stillness is powerful. It allows you to hear your own thoughts, to appreciate what surrounds you, and to make mindful decisions without urgency. Some things can be handled while sitting. Others can wait entirely. The world doesn't end because something wasn't done today. The sun still sets. The stars still arrive. You are still enough. Your time now is not for constant motion. It is for intentional steps, ones that nourish without draining, that restore without pushing. You've lived through decades of demands. Now is the time to move through life with care, with softness, with grace. Don't if you've ever felt like you're falling behind. Remember this: you are never behind when you are listening to your body and honoring your rhythm. You are, in fact, right on time. Even a gentle touch to a dusty shelf, or a few strokes of a cloth across a table, carries meaning. It is a quiet statement of love for your space, your memories, your peace of mind. And these acts, though small, begin to transform everything. The truth is, your home does not need to be perfect. It only needs to feel like a place that supports your well-being, a place where you can rest, reflect, and live fully in each moment. And when the sun sets, and you glance around at the little things you tended to, one drawer, one corner, one breath of audio, feel something deep within. A quiet kind of satisfaction, not from doing it all, but from doing just what you could, and doing it well. That is enough. That is everything great. Here's part 2 of your 19,000-word script, continuing in the same elegant, immersive style, without headings, topic mention, narrator, or scene labels. This part maintains the reflective tone, while gradually offering more subtle strategies, comfort, and rhythm for everyday life. There's an art in doing things slowly, not sluggishly, not carelessly, but intentionally. The kind of slow that feels rich, the kind of slow that pays attention. It's in that slowness that clarity begins to form, and things that once felt overwhelming begin to shrink in scale. Time has shown that the small, quiet efforts are the ones that last. The grand gestures fade quickly, but the steady ones rooted in simplicity become part of who we are. They shape our days in ways that feel manageable and kind, and kindness, especially towards ourselves, is not just important, it's necessary. Somewhere along the way, many were taught that rest had to be earned, that ease was indulgence, and that worth was found in being constantly useful. But that's a story worth rewriting. Usefulness now looks different. It's not about pushing past pain or forcing the body to cooperate. It's about finding ways to keep harmony without breaking yourself in the process. It might mean shifting a task from morning to afternoon, simply because your energy flows better after a bit of tea and sunshine. It could be choosing to sit as you handle the mail, placing everything in a tray rather than scattering it across surfaces. Small shifts, quiet results. Some days the weather outside might mirror how you feel inside, cloudy, slow, a little heavy. But even in those moments, there's space for gentle action, a single drawer sorted, or simply putting a lid back on a jar. These things matter because they reaffirm something powerful. that you're still creating order. Even when life feels uncertain, the key lies in preparation, not reaction. If everything has a home, then nothing ever feels lost. If the items you use most often are where you need them to be, within reach and in familiar places, then the day feels smoother, less jagged, less tiring. Clarity isn't found by removing everything, it's found by making things make sense. Group the things you use together. A tray by your chair can hold reading glasses, remote controls, a journal, a small lotion bottle. That way, you don't search. You don't bend or wander around the house trying to remember where something was placed. You simply reach, and it's there. The same goes for things in the kitchen. Place essentials on a turntable inside a cabinet or on the counter, items you use daily so you don't have to dig through clutter or stretch awkwardly. Let the tools serve you, not the other way around. There's a sweetness in structure, not a rigid one, but a rhythm that feels natural. Maybe mornings are for light tidying, and evenings are for placing everything back in its spot. Or maybe it's the opposite. The point is, rhythm removes the question of when and replaces it with a sense of ease. And then there are those items that haven't been touched in years. They rest in corners, under beds, behind other things, quiet reminders of a time that has already passed. Parting with them is not always easy. Some carry memory, others carry guilt. But what they all carry is weight. Letting go doesn't erase the memory. The memory lives within. The item served its time, held its place, gave its joy, and now it can move on. What remains is the space it once took and the relief that follows. There's a quiet freedom in having fewer things to tend to. Each object you release gives you back a little more breath, a little more time, a little more room to move and feel grounded in your surroundings. What matters most is not how much you do in a day, but how you feel while doing it. Some days, that feeling might be calm and collected. Other days, you may not have the same energy, and that's okay. The beauty of these changes is that they are self-guided. You're not following someone else's pace. You're following your own. Make peace with not finishing everything. Life isn't a checklist. It's a series of gentle pauses, returns, and beginnings. What you leave undone today can be visited tomorrow, and with fresh eyes and steadier hands. It might even feel easier then. Use containers to divide large tasks into smaller ones. A big mess shrinks quickly when it's broken into parts. A cluttered table becomes more manageable when you sort it into little bins. Keep, move, toss, unsure. The unsure box gives you permission not to decide right away. It lets you breathe, reflect, and return when you're ready. This way, you are always in control, not rushed, not overwhelmed, simply choosing one moment at a time. Sometimes all it takes is music. A soft tune in the background turns a simple activity into something more gentle, more rhythmic. It moves with you. It softens the silence and invites a sense of warmth. Or perhaps it's light that helps. Open the curtains. Let the sun cast its glow over the surfaces you touch. Natural light not only illuminates the space, it uplifts the spirit. There's something quietly empowering about having your surroundings respond to your needs. It reminds you that you are still capable, still aware, still crafting the atmosphere of your life, even if you now do so at a slower, softer pace. And if at any moment you feel frustrated by what you cannot do, gently remind yourself of what you can. The heart still beats strong. The mind still chooses where to place its focus. The hands may tremble, but they still carry intention. You have not lost the ability to create peace. That skill remains, refined by time, polished by years of care and understanding. If the floor feels too far away today, let it wait. If the windows aren't shining, let them be. Your worth is not measured by sparkle. It's measured by presence, by awareness, by the grace with which you move through the day, whether fast or slow, steady or still. No need to compare. No need to catch up. You're already here, in the only moment that truly matters. And when that moment includes just a few small gestures, placing a book where it belongs, straightening a cushion, wiping a spot from a mirror, you've done more than enough. These aren't just actions, they're messages. Messages to yourself that you still care, that you still shape your environment, that you are still deeply connected to the space you call home. Each day offers a chance to begin again, not from scratch, but from exactly where you are. The path doesn't need to be straight. It just needs to feel gentle. In this season of life, gentleness is not a luxury, it is the very foundation of strength. There's something deeply reassuring about a routine that asks for little and gives so much. Not the kind that chains you to a clock, but one that wraps itself around you gently, like a warm shawl. It doesn't demand, it simply reminds that a small motion, repeated with care, creates rhythm. And rhythm is one of the softest forms of order. The way the sun finds the same corner of the room every morning. The way your hands automatically reach for the same mug. These small certainties provide comfort, not because they're grand, but because they're familiar, because they belong to you. That same familiarity can be built into how you move through your space. A few actions, always in the same sequence, begin to feel like a quiet dance. You might start with a simple breath, a glance around. You notice what's out of place, but not with judgment, with curiosity, with softness. Over time, your eyes start to skip past the chaos and find the calm, the clean line of a cleared surface, the gentle scent of a room you've cared for, the glow of light hitting a well-loved chair. These become anchors, proof that peace is not only possible, but present. One of the quietest joys is having a space that feels like it's been listening to you, where every item seems to say, "I'm here because I serve you." There's no noise, no cluttered thoughts, just presence. And in that presence, there is healing. Not every action needs to be a chore. Some are simply gestures of awareness, a hand smoothing a blanket, a foot nudging a drawer closed, a cloth gliding across the arm of a chair. These movements become meditation. They remind you that care doesn't have to be loud. It can be whispered, and the beauty of that whisper is that it doesn't exhaust you, it fuels you, it creates a flow. One where the body feels respected, where the space feels alive, where effort doesn't mean pain, it means presence even. Something as simple as grouping similar objects together can create unexpected ease. All the remote controls in a small box, all the papers in one tray. It may not seem revolutionary, but it changes the way your eyes move. It reduces the number of decisions you make in a day. And in that way, it reduces the weight of the day itself. There is also a subtle magic in seasonal rhythms. As one season fades and another arrives, the light shifts, the air changes. Let that be your cue, a gentle nudge to adjust something around you. Maybe you swap a blanket for a lighter one. Maybe you shift a chair to catch more morning sun. These are not changes made out of necessity. They're made out of harmony. It's okay to find joy in little things. like a drawer that opens smoothly because it's no longer stuffed, like a basket that holds only what you truly need. These things may be silent, but they speak volumes about how you're choosing to live, and choice is everything. You are no longer living according to what must be done. You're choosing what you want to feel, and in that choice you reclaim power. There's a tendency to overestimate what must happen in a day. But when you look back on the days that felt the most peaceful, they were often the ones where just a few things were done slowly, calmly, with intention. A single cabinet cleared of things that no longer serve. A few bottles recycled. A couple of items placed in a donation bag. These aren't tasks, they are releases. Releases of pressure, releases of memory that no longer needs holding, releases of weight you didn't even know you carried. Each time you make space, physically or emotionally, you open the door to something lighter. Sometimes that's a cleaner counter. Sometimes it's a clearer mind. Either way, you gain more than you give. Even the way you enter a room begins to change. Instead of bracing yourself, you find yourself welcoming it, because you know that it holds no surprises, it holds no pressure, it's yours, reflecting back to you the care you've given it. Let things be simple, let them be easy, keep what supports you, let go of what doesn't. There's no need to explain, no need to justify. If something no longer feels useful, your Schitzelaw, joyful it's okay to move on from it. You don't owe your space anything. It exists to support you, not to overwhelm you. And the more that space understands your pace, the more peaceful it becomes. Perhaps the greatest lesson of this season is that gentleness creates more than force ever could. What gets done out of love and ease remains longer than what was done out of pressure. And in this new way of living, patience becomes a strength. You stop rushing, you start observing. You notice what works and what doesn't, and without even realizing it, you begin to refine your environment into something truly yours. There's no timeline, no checklist, no right or wrong way. Only what feels right for you. Maybe that means rearranging a single shelf, or simply lighting a candle and watching the flame dance. Both are forms of tending. Both are acts of care. Some days will invite more motion. Others will ask for stillness. Honor both. Honor what your body tells you. It speaks with wisdom now. When it asks for rest, listen. That too is productive. That too is care. And when you do feel ready to move, don't look around and ask what needs to be done. Instead, ask what would bring a little more peace. The answer to that question is almost always something small, something within reach, something you can do gently. That is the path now, not through hustle, but through presence. Through grace, through tiny, conscious actions that ripple quietly into every corner of your life.